Hey, we got somebody on the phone, and you told me during the break it's former Sheriff of Florence County, Kenney Boone. Good morning, Sheriff. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
We are doing well. Didn't mean to keep you any longer than we did, or didn't mean to keep you as long as we did. But good morning, and what do we owe this occasion? Why you got something to say about taxes or politics or something else you're involved in?
No, listen, you talking about graduation. I'm telling you, blaming it all on Tammy. I'm telling you, you're suffering just as bad as she is, and you know it.
I am. You're right. Don't make me cry on this radio, Boone. Don't you make me break down and cry.
It's coming.
On this radio.
I know you, brother. We've been together a long time, and you feel just like I do about our children, and man, that's pretty strong. I just can't believe she's graduating, man.
Neither. She lied to me because at 5 I said, "Promise me you'll never grow up," and she said, "I promise."
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's that's the main thing I can think about is her being But it's good to hear from you. I mean,
man, I tell you what, I get the opportunity to listen to you guys a lot. I've been listening to you for the past couple of months and stuff too, and I just enjoy your show. Keeps me updated on everything that's going on nationally, particularly, and locally. But one thing I wanted to reach out to you and just tell you about what's going on, with us and Valor Station. I don't know, if you guys have heard about it or anything else. Obviously, being in Georgia, and thanks to Georgia Department of Public Safety and working with those folks and stuff, we've been able to help other law enforcement, fire, EMS, corrections, communications, peer support, those that are suffering, obviously, from PTSD, substance abuse like me. And, it's just a great thing and something we hope to get started here soon in Augusta, Georgia. And but I think there's going to be facilities like this all over the country. But anyway, been listening to you guys, wanted to reach out and say hello. And, I got a lot of amends to make, obviously, but I think we're definitely on the right direction. And thanks to family and friends and stuff, too, I think, we're on the right track. But, I just wanted to say hello and how much I appreciate you guys and appreciate, the opportunity to be able to serve, in Florence County all those years. And, I'm just sorry I let people down. And got, like I say, a lot of amends to make. And, I hope, given the opportunity, I'll be able to do that sometime in the near future.
Hey, that's a stand-up thing to say, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to run you down the next day or so. We're going to do this in the studio instead of over the air because you and I have a similarity. I mean, we got elected in 2004. People don't know that, but Kenney got elected as a sheriff, as a Democrat in 2004. I got elected as a Republican in 2004 as a county council member, and then he switched parties and became a Republican, and I feel like we cut our teeth in politics together. I was on county council trying to help him, with the budget and some of these other sorts of things. I made a big mistake in my political life. Kenney made a big mistake in his personal life, and he and I'll make public, Kenney, I don't think you'd mind me this. I mean, you and I have had multiple conversations, and the only advice I've ever given former Sheriff Boone is own it. I mean, just own your mistake.
Yes,
admit it. It was me. It's nobody else. I mean, I can blame a million different things for why I did what I did, why I ended up where I ended up. But at the end of the day, it's my mistake. It was your mistake. And I've told you before, people are amazingly forgiving if you accept responsibility.
Absolutely. That's one thing I've done. And yourself, you probably know me as good as anybody. My ego and, having to become humble and, obviously alcohol, where I made the wrong choices. And, it's just, those that I can help in the near future, that's what I plan to do and try to give back some way or another, particularly for those who take care of me all these years and be able to support them and give them what they need and let them realize that there is a resource out there. With me, I think my problem too was, living in a glass house. If you admit you have a problem, in my mind, it's career ending. And I think that's a lot of folks from what I'm hearing from other states and stuff. I'm visiting and stuff and telling my story. And, this particularly Valor Station gives those folks an opportunity to be able to say, I need help. And, having the resource to be able to do that where it's not career ending like it was for me.
Well explained. I'm going to run you down to the next day or so, and we're going to continue this conversation in the studio if you're willing. Thank you, Kenney.
Sounds good, brother. Love you.
Take care. Love you too.
Y'all.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Appreciate that. And there's there's a guy who's, it caught me off guard. caught me real off guard. You don't do that much. I can normally kind of roll into the next. Boone got elected in 2004. and I got elected in 04, and I was told to stay out of other people's races. But I'm not real good at that. I've never been real good at that.
Doing what you're told?
Yeah, I've never been. Well, it's almost like you tell me to do it. That's telling me to do something else, and I've just got this bent gene about me. But people ask me about Kenney a lot because they know we're friends and they know we go back, 16 or 17 years or so at the beginning of political careers, and I think there are some similarities. I made a mistake that kind of sidetracked an otherwise promising political career. Kenney made a big mistake that cost him a lot of the public scrutiny and some serious impacts in his personal life. And I have tried to not counsel because I'm not capable of counseling, but I've tried to express to him that the most important thing I think you can do when you make a big mistake is apologize and own it. I mean, don't run from it. Don't shy away from it. Don't blame things that are easily, to blame. You can say about, having to deal with all this or having to deal, it doesn't matter. I mean, we all have to deal with things in our lives and whether you like it or not, when you're sheriff, when you're lieutenant governor, when you're some sort of public personality, there's just a higher level of scrutiny. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it should be that way, but I don't get to make the rules. And I have to live by the rules that other people make. And Kenney's accepted responsibility for the problem he had in his life. And I think to raise awareness of that personal problem, I've made very public the issue with addiction in my kid. We've talked about how can we help people dealing with this sort of problem. And alcoholism is real. Drug addiction is real. It knows no socioeconomic bounds. It knows no party bounds. You're talking about bipartisanship. You're talking about, impartiality. There you go. I mean, I know Democrats who have problems with alcohol. I know Republicans who have problems with alcohol. I know loud people. I know quiet people. I know great families who have a kid addicted to opiates. I know, broken families who have kids addicted to opiates. What I've tried to do as I've gotten older, and I guess this is getting way out there, what I've tried to do is be more helpful than harmful. And I guess it goes back to my mom and dad. My mom in particular. Mom always told me that when somebody slips and falls, what joy comes out of piling on? What satisfaction comes out of lashing that person one more time? The broken human being is something I've always considered worth saving and is salvageable. And I think there's a lot of good in Boone. There's a lot of good in all of us. That there's enough bad to screw it up. That there's enough arrogance. There's enough, as Kenney talked about, lack of humility. And when on top of the world, you don't think your crap stinks. And nobody can convince you otherwise. And then you realize, no, it does. It stinks just like everybody else's. And a fall ensues. And I think what you do after the fall is the greatest example of what kind of person you are. And I think the greatest example of the decency of humanity is how many people are willing to help you when you fall. Because you can bet your sweet ass, excuse my French, that you're going to fall. I mean, every single one of us are. Now most of our failings or failures aren't in the newspaper. They aren't on television. They aren't broadcast over the air. Boone and I have that in common, and that in some sense of similarity. But he was my friend before he got elected sheriff. He was my friend when he was sheriff, and he's my friend after all of these events happened. And I think an accounting of who you are now and what you want to become. He ain't the sheriff anymore, but he ain't dead. I mean, there's a lot of living left. And I think there's an example, a life lesson for all of us in this. And I think if you're one of those people who take great joy in watching another man's failure, then that's your problem, not mine. And I mean that sincerely. I come from a place when someone slips and falls, you try to help them up. And I believe that the world would be a much better place if there were more people inclined to do that than stomp on your head when you're down. And I'll leave it there. You want to say something?
I just want to say, man, the great beauty of the life that we live in, there's always hope.
Well, I mean, and I go back to the three words, and I mean this sincerely. This goes back to my Christian upbringing and my belief in God and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. If it wasn't for hope, grace and mercy, forgiveness, grace and mercy, we're all toast. You are, I am. You might be a little more edible version of toast than I am. I might be a little more burnt than you are. But at the end of the day, if it was not and is not for grace, forgiveness, and mercy, ain't none of us, and that's a double negative, I know it, ain't none of us got a chance. Take a break. Back in a minute. 843-661-0937 is our number.
Well, it's not that often you get caught off guard, but I think
Never do I get caught off guard.
But during that last segment, when you were talking to Kenney, I could tell it caught you off guard. Probably the emotion of the discussion. Am I right?
I mean, it's just,
Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, it caught me off guard because I don't like to see people hurt, man. I don't like to see people, I mean, and we all have. We all have imperfections. We all make mistakes. The majority of the mistakes most people make are never found out. There's a small circle of a small universe of people of which you interact with, and they're very intimate, personal in your life. And if you have a problem, whether it's a personal problem or a family problem, you share it with that universe of people. When you accept the role of a public figure, and I guess being a sheriff, being a lieutenant governor is a very public figure. You kind of accept that your personal business, your personal life could potentially be hashed out in the public square. Who does like that? I mean, who would? I mean, there's got to be some really, really bent gene about,
and like you said, everybody makes mistakes and goes through issues and has to deal with things, but not everybody has it, as the lead story on the television news or on the above the fold in the newspaper. Right?
Well, I mean, I had a conversation with a reporter one night, and this was during the middle of my political misgiving and the episode in my life that was not the most pleasant imaginable. And he was sympathetic. I mean, this person was sympathetic, and he said, I got a job to do, but I don't like beating the crap out of you. But you're our state's lieutenant governor, and I've got a job to do. My job is to report on what I think the truth is. And I asked him, kind of pointed. I said, am I a subject of an article or a person? And he said, that's an interesting question, because I've got to balance how much humanity I'm allowed to infiltrate itself into the story, because personally, people don't care about you. I mean, they don't care about you and your kid and your family, but you being a lieutenant governor, there is a sense of awareness and a sense of they deserve to know what's going on. And I accept that. I mean, I absolutely accept that. And I do think that the best thing you can do, well, whether you're a public figure or not, the best thing you can do when you make a mistake and you have, own it. Just own it. Own every inch of it. Own more than you think you should own. And I think the human dynamic, and I think we all have a sense of ability to forgive. I think we want to forgive people. I mean, I think we're happier when we honestly and truly forgive people. Those who are resentful and bitter and wish ill on everybody, that's your problem, not mine. I mean, I made my mind up a long, long time ago. I ain't spending much time on mean, miserable people. I don't have time. I don't have so many minutes in an hour, so many hours in a day.
Why
so many
waste
days.
the energy?
Why waste the energy on mean, miserable people? Politics is full of them. There's a reality in American politics today. You can get pretty wealthy by being mean and miserable. I know some of those people, and you kind of play the game with them. But I life's too short for that. So where I've landed is I ain't perfect, and neither are you. The difference in my life and yours is when you accept the role of lieutenant governor, radio show host for that matter, sheriff of a county or a town. I mean, you accept that the public has a right to know more about you than you do about them. And if you accept that and you make a mistake, it's hard to be mad at the media. It's hard to be mad at, the person mumbling under their breath at the restaurant. But I just think you've got to look in the mirror every day and say, okay, he ain't perfect, but he's okay. He's like the Braves. He's batting 500, and I think batting 500 is a bad place to be in America today. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Politicians are like everybody else, just a little more so.